thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? That's his job, to weaken the nations. That's exactly what we're seeing. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. So Satan wanted to be exalted above all the other stars, all the other angels. It's not just the creation, but all the angels themselves, and above God himself. He just had pride. Pride was the reason for Satan's fall. He didn't want to be equal to the other angels, and he certainly didn't want to serve men. He considered himself to be above it all. And so Jesus said in Luke 10:18, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. This all occurred after he fell from heaven as lightning and took a third of all the angels with him in that rebellion against the Most High God. So notice Isaiah says also that Satan weakened the nations. And again in Revelation 12:9 says of Satan that he deceiveth the whole world. Okay, this is Satan's primary weapon. Through lies and deception and deceit and sorcery and technology and everything else at his disposal, creation itself, Satan's primary aim is to deceive nations into war and debauchery and instability and death and chaos and mayhem. That's exactly what we see him doing in the nations today. If Satan can ultimately control the nations and the head of those nations, he can wreak havoc through them, to every human being on earth. And that's exactly what he does. That's why there's so much chaos, so much mayhem as we're leading up to the final days, in the nations, and instability and wars and rumors of wars. Satan's best strategy is to stay hidden and to be behind the scenes wreaking havoc so that he can be the true deceptor. Exactly what we see him doing in the nations today through his globalist, leftist agenda. It's no accident that it's the left versus the right. The left, the sheep, the goats on the left and the sheep on the right. I mean, it's just like the nations are being divided. The sheep and the goats are being separated and divided currently in the nations. And by pitting nation against, nation, we are living in a time of great deception. Deception is the thing. It's about misinformation and disinformation and malinformation, except it's coming from the left and the globalists and the elite and not the Christians and not the conservatives. We're actually speaking the truth, and that's why they're trying to censor us. Why would they censor you if you're, if they're okay with what you're saying? They want to silence their political opponents, enemies, and even imprison them, as we saw with Trump. Ezekiel 28:13 through 15 also says of Lucifer's fall, Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardius, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold. The workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou was created. Satan was a worshiping angel. He was a cherub that covered the glory of God with his wings. He was very close to God in charge of worship, in charge of music. It says that his instruments were created in him in the day that he was created. And verse 14, Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of God. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou was created, till iniquity was found in thee. And then verse 17, Thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before kings, that they may behold thee. And then Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So even Satan knows that this is it. This is the final days. He has a little bit of time left. And Satan knows that he's going to lose. That is his end perdition. That's where he's going to end up. And knowing this causes him to have great wrath, and he takes it out on the church and on the world during the Great Tribulation. He knows that this is his final chance to wreak as much havoc and destruction as possible before Jesus returns and destroys him. You know, he's like, this is it. He's just angry. He's full of wrath. He's not thinking, I'm going to win this thing. He's just thinking, I'm going to kill as many people, cause as much destruction. I'm going to take the whole world down with me if I'm going down. And so he just lets loose. There's no more holding him back. God isn't holding him back anymore either. The Spirit's not holding him back. He's just coming full-fledged after the church and by consequence the rest of the world.